everyone. So today I'm going to be talking about my experience with the NASM CPT exam. I'm going to be going over first how I prepared for the exam and then what the actual exam itself was like, some of the information on it, what it was like setting up the online proctoring and stuff like that. So yeah, if you're interested in learning how I passed my CPT exam, how you can potentially pass it, yeah, we're going to talk about that. So preparing wise, I watched a lot of videos on what other people did, and a lot of people didn't even go through the course at all. Hi Gabby. A lot of people just ended up like studying for it and taking it like a week after they bought the NASM CPT program. I didn't do that. I not religiously, but I went through every single chapter, every single section, took all the section quizzes and stuff like that, just because it's a lot of information. And I felt like if I didn't go through the book or the online course, it would have made it really hard for me to even retain a lot of that information just studying it, if that makes sense. So I went through all the courses and I took notes along the way. So this was my designated NASM CPT notebook, and as you can see, I took notes on every chapter on things that I needed to remember, things that I hadn't heard of yet, or things that I need to review on. So kind of just to explain, I'm a college student. My major is health promotion and performance. So a lot of things that were in the NASM course were things that I have heard of before in classes and things like that. But it always helps to review. There's no such thing as too much review. Well, maybe, but so writing down things, important concepts from chapters really helped me. And I took all the practice quizzes. So as I was going throughout the course, I took all the practice quizzes, and I took them until I passed them. So I think that also helped me retain a lot of information. But I've seen people pass and do really well without going through the whole course. So it just depends on you and your preferences and how much you want to get out of it. For me, my logic was this is a very expensive course. And so why not make the most out of it and learn as much as I possibly can and utilize the program that I have. So that was kind of my logic of why I went and, did everything kind of to a T. Let's see. And then another thing that helped me is I was constantly reviewing because of those practice tests. And then I also was utilizing what I was learning in real life. So because I'm a college student and I work at gyms and stuff like that, I was able to kind of see the stuff I was learning in action or do presentations or papers on it. So that helps. So really, even if you're not in college, try and apply it to your daily life. So next time you go to the gym, think about, oh, well, what would happen if my lower back was arching? Which muscles would be overactive and underactive? Or, oh, he's designing his workout like that. He's doing a complex training type of style. So really try and demonstrate or realize how it plays into the real world and not just online studying. So, I took the course, the program. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. So I did the online, sections and stuff like that. And once I finished with the online section, I was about a month from taking my exam from when I had scheduled. So I had 1 month to really study and not just go through the book. So my 1 month of studying, I made a Quizlet based off of the CPT exam study guide. And that study guide is the one thing you really need. So when you're studying, definitely look at that study guide, know those concepts for sure. So I broke up my Quizlet that I made based off of the study guide into general concepts, so things like what's diabetes, type 1 and type 2, what's, this and that. And then the second section was assessments, regressions, progressions, your cardio zones, your plyometric progressions, regressions, overhead squat analysis, and things like that. So there was a lot of terms on there, a lot of terms. And so I only went through those Quizlets maybe once or twice because it was just 400 note cards and there's just no time. So when I realized this Quizlet is just way too much information, I started watching more videos on other people similar to this and what they did to help them study, and some concepts that you really need to know. So I'll go through these, which are the handwritten note cards I made after watching those videos. And this is the information that you really need to know. That will be the majority of what's on the test. So I would know just some general stuff about the measurements, so like the skin fold measurements, so Jackson and Pollock, the Dernan Wordsley, I think it is. Know your BMI, make sure to know altered reciprocal inhibition, autogenic, reciprocal inhibition, all those good things, know those. Know blood pressure pretty well. And then this is a big thing, know all your acute variables for the different stages of the OPT model. So for example, this one's maximal strength, so you know that it's 1 to 5 reps, 4 to 6 sets, your intensity is 85 to 100%, tempo is usually explosive, and your rest is 0 to 3 minutes. Those, you should know that for pretty much every single, muscular hypertrophy. You should know that for power, know that for all of them. Know your different stretching, static, dynamic, self-myofascial rolling, know examples of open chain exercises, closed chain exercises, know heart rate, so things like stroke volume, cardiac output, know your zones for cardio and your stages, because those are different. So try and know just a little bit about that. Know your antagonists, agonists, synergists, stabilizers. These will all be in the CPT exam study guide, so you might be like, Amanda, what the heck are you talking about right now? But you'll know what I'm talking about when you see the study guide. I'm just kind of listing the main things. Obviously, you want to know your overhead squat analysis, your lower cross syndrome, upper cross, all those things. Let's see, zone 4, lower cross syndrome, know your overactive, underactive muscles in those. Those are really like the main things. Know your hip flexors. I think those are the main things. And then, upper cross syndrome, lower cross. Oh, and then another big thing is if you have a pregnant client or someone with hypertension, know exercise considerations for those special populations. So that'll be really important too. And then the last thing I want to mention that are in my note cards is global and local muscles. So understand like what they do. So, your global muscles are typically movement muscles and your local muscles are typically stabilizer muscles, and then know what muscles they are. That came up a lot for some reason in my practice exams. That's another thing. I took the practice exam like 5 or 6 or 7 times maybe. And that was really helpful. It helped me review things, because when you're looking at a giant Quizlet, you just want to freaking not do that. So at least when you're doing the exams, you're reviewing this information, but it's in a quicker way than just going through a million Quizlets. So I did a lot of practice with the review, or with the practice exams, and that helped me a lot. And there were a lot of questions on the global and local muscles in the practice exams. I, again, have heard people say that they didn't take any practice exams, or that the practice exams didn't help them and they found them to be easier than the actual test. I found it to be the opposite. So I found that the practice exams were a lot harder than the actual exam, because the actual exam had like quite a few questions on things like SMART goals, or goal setting, outcome goals versus process goals, and those things are relatively easy for me. So if you're not aware of like outcome goals, process goals, SMART goals, behavioral change techniques, those are another thing to add into your stack of note cards of things that are really important that you need to know. So I always recommend making a Quizlet or note cards and then also applying it, because those are the best ways to remember it. Now, the last section I want to talk about, hopefully this wasn't too all over the place, but the last thing I want to talk about is the actual test itself, the actual exam. So I know probably most people watching this, you're doing it proctored online. So I had quite a lot of technology trouble, and I think this was partially on me for just being dumb with technology, but you're supposed to have a certain, so here, let me grab my laptop. So you're supposed to have a certain like Mac OS or something downloaded, like your most updated version of your Mac and Chrome and things like that, and I didn't have the updated version. And so when I went to go take the exam, I clicked launch course, and then you click, it'll say click here to make sure that your laptop and your network is compatible. So I clicked there, and it said that my network and my laptop was not compatible with the test, and I would not be able to take it. So I freaked out. This was like 30 minutes before the test, and I was like, well, I don't know what to do. And so I started downloading stuff and trying different things and freaking out. Some tears were shed, and I was like, I'm gonna auto fail it because I'm not gonna be able to show up to my test. Luckily, I, for some reason, could bypass all of that and just click launch course, and I didn't have to download anything. I didn't have to, like, nothing that I did mattered because I could have just ignored that alert and clicked launch course. I don't really know what happened there, but I would just make sure that, like, you have what you need to have downloaded, your laptop's updated, you have a camera, you have audio. I had those two things, but just make sure your laptop is updated so you don't freak out before the test because it's not working for you. So then you click launch course, and this is where the fun begins, where you take a picture of your license and your CPR and AED, and then they have you take your laptop and show around the room that you're in. So as you can probably kind of see, my room is like pretty messy and has like a lot of stuff going on. And so the proctor had me, you know, move a bunch of stuff out of the way, and like I had to pretty much rearrange my whole room. So like if you can, go somewhere that's like as empty as possible and move everything as far like out of arm's reach for you as possible, because the proctor kept telling me, move this, move that, show me to your left, show me to your right, show me on the ground. And so that was just kind of an extra stress to an already kind of stressful situation. So yeah, just make sure you're in a really empty room. That's one thing I'll say about that. But yeah, I found the test to be easier than the practice exams. There's 120 questions. 20 that are in there mixed in are ones that don't even count for your test, which is kind of weird, but I get why they do it. You can bookmark things and go back to it. But yeah, I mean, that was about it. I found it to be easier. If you prepare really well, I think it will be really easy for you. So just make sure you prepare, do everything you need to do ahead of time, and know that like even after you take the exam, there's still a lot to learn. And the majority of your learning as a trainer does come from being in person with clients and with people. And that's what I've even noticed, because I have worked in the gym prior to getting my my NASM CPT NASM CPT qualification, certified personal trainer, certifying. Before I got my NASM, I was already working in gyms and helping train people and all this type of stuff. So just know that experience is the best way to learn, and have fun with it. I mean, all this information is stuff that hopefully won't go away, and you'll continue to remember and utilize. And yeah, I mean, that's about it. I feel like the big thing is studying the most important concepts, being familiar with as much as you can that's on the study guide, and just preparing as best that you feel like you need to, and studying concepts that you don't know as well. So if you're someone who really can know the OPT model like it's the back of your hand, but struggles with remembering like, oh, well, what is the SMART goals and how do you change someone's behavior, you know, find what you need to review the most, because everyone's a little bit different and everyone's test is different. So thanks for watching. I'll probably do more videos in the future surrounding like training and things like that. So be on the lookout for that. Thanks for watching.